I met a guy in California that was a pilot in World War I. He told me he flew over German munition dump with orders in the cockpit not to bomb it. He could not understand that. He said he flew over it 8 times. Underneath him was all these ammunitions for killing Americans. And it says, do not bomb this plant. And after the war, a magazine called Fortune magazine, I'm sure you've heard of it, did an article called Arms and the Men. That's the name of the article, written many years ago. And in it, it said DuPont had holdings in a German company called I.J. Farben. That's why it wasn't bombed. There's a lot of military people that resign from the military because all war is corrupt. What we have to do, like if I had anything to do with it, I would take all the soldiers and send them to school to become problem solvers. We have problems, lots of them. And let's go to work on bridging the difference between nations, how to change people. That's what I train soldiers in doing, not killing. Soldiers are killing machines. They're trained to kill, use machine guns, and he manufactures machine guns and he makes millions. He sells aircraft carriers. He's a small businessman. He makes billions on aircraft carriers. So money has always transferred in times of war. Banks lend money to the nation, the public picks up the tab, and that's your debt. All nations are corrupt. There's no such thing as a good nation. They don't know it because they're not educated at that. So when you go to school and the teacher uses old language, she says, that's wrong. That's wrong doesn't tell you a thing. Think about the word, that's wrong. What does that tell you? If the teacher says, that's not what I told you, that doesn't tell you anything. Neither does it tell anything to a kid. So what we do is we try to find out what makes people behave the way they do. So I'm going to give you an example. I took some 4 to 6-year-old little boys and little girls, and I said to the little boys and little girls, draw a picture of a human being. And this is what they did from 4 to 6. Some people still draw that.
Yeah, just a stick figure.
So I then asked them to put in more stuff. And I said, can you add things to that picture? And they added this. So the teacher gives the kids crayon and asks them to color the buildings and the people. And I say, what are you going to do with it? The teacher says, I'm going to hang it up, which is like 1A, 1B in school. I said, don't hang it up. If you do that, you're going to arrest the kids at this stage of development. Why don't you hang up the word cat when they spell it with a K? She said, well, that would interfere with communication. I said, this is no good. This is children's drawings. She says, I don't know what you're talking about. So I called the kid over and I said, how does this guy get in that house?
That's really far away.
He said that to the kid. He says, I made him too big on the house too small. I said, that's right. I said, the guy looks like he never ate anything in his life. So the kid adds mass right away, not good, but he adds mass to the guy. You understand? Right away, and he never draws a guy like that again. That's what I mean by don't hang it up, because you stop the kid at that stage of development. So I say to the kid, how would you like to be able to draw like an adult right away? Not these baby drawings. He said, I'm only 4 years old. I said, don't worry about that. Because when you ask an artist, how do you draw? Here's what he says. I don't know, I've been drawing for years. It just kind of comes natural. He doesn't know. If you ask any artist, how do you draw so well? Well, mostly can't answer that. And if you ask a little boy or a little girl, how do you walk? He says, I used to crawl, then I got up and I fell over 3 or 4 times, then I learned to walk, but he doesn't know how he walks. So when I was 17, I built a robot and it fell over all the time because I didn't know how it walked. I said, what is walking? I don't know. I've had to figure that out first. So what I came to in the old days was, in order to walk, you had to take your weight off this leg and free it and head it that way. Then take the weight off this leg and head it that way. And then once I did that, described it, I built a robot that didn't fall. But we don't know what makes things happen. Say, what makes the waves on the, well, the ocean makes the waves now. The wind makes the waves. What makes the wind? When clouds cover the earth, the sun doesn't get down, the air cools and contracts. That's what makes the wind. Well, what makes the sun? A nuclear furnace burns continuously because other planets and bodies crash into it and fuel it. The sun will go on for billions of years and then it'll burn out. Most science tells us that energy flows downhill. By that they mean if you heat a ball, make it red hot and put it on the table here, that heat will go away and then eventually it'll cool to the surrounding temperature. That's what they mean by energy goes downhill, flows down. We've never known anything that was self-activated. Let me tell you what that means. A sailboat cannot sail. The wind moves it. All things are moved by resident forces. You know what that means? You can't live unless you eat. Whether it's animal or vegetable, you take in fuel. You defecate. You shit every week. And so you take in fuel and you use it. So all people wear out eventually. They get older and they get wrinkled. So all the stories of people, about people, how they get old and they wrinkle and they die. Actually, the truth is, as you get older, all our indoctrinated food doctrine of food, artificial coloring, artificial flavoring, builds plaque in the blood vessels, and it gets thinner and thinner. So the nutrients can't get out, so you wrinkle and age. Someday we'll be able to keep the blood vessels clear, clean, and control the multiplication of cells so they don't stop after so many divisions, and be able to live to be 200, 300 years old. But medicine, like all other areas today, is a business. Do you understand? Doctors used to spend time with you. How's the family? How are the kids? Nowadays, you move them through. The fastest, every 20 minutes, no more. If you work in the hospital, you move them through, because it's a business. When medicine becomes a business, and drugs, say the drug company finds out that celery juice lowers blood pressure. You think they're going to say, our pills, you get $3 a piece for them, you can take celery juice and avoid that. They couldn't do that. They go out of business. So business makes you corrupt. Let's say you produce vacuum cleaners 10 times faster than my factory, but you being a good Christian, say, John, here's how you can produce vacuum cleaners faster, and you show me your method, you lose the competitive edge. So you take out patents. Patents deprive people of things. We don't think that way. We think, well, he's a great inventor. So I'm saying that the world I'm talking about, if you want a world without war, poverty, hunger, misery, crime, all that can be eliminated by declaring all the world's resources as the common heritage of all the world's people. And we have to remove all the artificial boundaries that separate people. Astronauts that fly out in space look at the Earth and they see no boundaries. There are no boundaries between countries. That's man-made. You're a Lutheran, you're proud of it. You're a Catholic, you're proud. That divides people. Do you know what I mean? And they say, well, it's the goddamn Greeks. That's the cause of the problems in this country. Or it's the Swedes. It's nobody. It's a system we live under that produces all the dirty things that you encounter.